Hey guys, welcome to Hunkered Down with Seth. That song you're hearing is a public domain song, Back to the Carolina You Love by Al Jolson. And I chose that song because my guest today, really good friend of mine, very funny comic, very great guy. He checks all the boxes. If you need anything, he's the guy. He's out there hanging out in Tar Heel country. Chris Rodriguez. Chris, how you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, Seth? Thanks for having me.
Oh, anytime. So, big news today. Tom Brady. He is now a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Your thoughts?
Well, Tom Brady does what every 40-something-year-old does that's from the north. They retire and move down south to Florida to die.
So, a lot of questions come from this. First of all, why doesn't he just retire and spend time with his supermodel fiance wife?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you got to think he's not the first great quarterback to do this. You know, think about most candidates, Kansas City, Brett Favre to every team in the AFC North. I think it's kind of you don't want to let go of the greatness. You know, I think that's what it is. He's not ready to not be a football player anymore because that's all he knows.
Yeah. Um, Quick question though. So, let's put you in Tom Brady's shoes. You're sitting there. You're looking at for the next year, sitting down with 52 big sweaty men or Giselle. What's your choice? What would you personally do?
Well, I think about another quarterback who stayed past his prime and played in Florida, Dan Marino, and how he could barely walk now. So I would take my cash and run. I mean, just forget the football. I mean, the money from the endorsements. I mean, what does he really have to prove? I mean, all the rings and you know he's nobody can argue that he's not the GOAT. So I would call it a career and right off the sunset.
Yeah, would you think that he's trying to do this to prove he can't do it without Belichick?
Uh, yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, that's kind of the only thing that it would have to prove. But Tampa, I mean, really?
Well, if you
I
look at
mean, I just don't see it.
well, Tampa's got probably the best one-two set of receivers. I would put Goodwin and Evans up there with pretty much any duo. Uh, well, I would say the Browns, Odell and Landry, just in pure talent, they're the best. But if you Goodwin is solid producer. You got Evans, who's an All Pro in any conversation. I mean, he's got a lot going for him down there.
Well, for me though, like I wouldn't look so much at receiver talent because look what he did with only Edelman and Gronk some part of the time. I would be for his age and his running ability. I'd be more concerned with offensive line quality.
Oh, and they got a decent offensive line. I mean, last year they were the number one passing team in the NFL. If it wasn't for the 30 interceptions thrown by Jameis, they would have been in the playoffs.
Yeah, 30 interceptions thrown by James is crazy. I heard he threw three of those to his mother.
Yeah, I think I caught three of those interceptions.
Yeah, you would have made the Pro Bowl with that.
Definitely. Now, speaking of Jameis, what's his future? You got the crystal ball.
Jameis, I'm a diehard doomed Jags fan, and I've actually heard some talk recently about maybe him coming to Jacksonville, but I hate that idea. I mean, if I had to put money on it, I don't actually think it's too crazy if he was to go to New England and he and Brady swap. I mean, if there's anybody that can get him in line and cut down on some bad decisions, it'll be Belichick. If he doesn't get in line, he's gone.
All right, I'm just gonna throw out some teams. See what you would think Jameis there. Detroit.
No, I don't see him going there.
Okay.
I don't have a reason why. I just don't. I don't see it. I mean, what's going on with Stafford's contract there? Do you know?
Yeah, he's got a lot of money for a couple more years.
Yeah, so he's still under contract.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to find a place for Stafford first. before you
Yeah,
brought in him. I don't know. I don't know that he's got any suitors. I mean, maybe Stafford can go to San Diego, but
yeah,
Rivers being gone. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Very underrated team, and this is just me spitballing. There's absolutely no credibility behind it. Jameis to Pittsburgh.
Ooh, that's not a bad pick. What's the deal with Big Ben though? I thought he was gonna be good to go.
Yeah, but Ben said that he was thinking about retiring at the beginning of the year, at last year. And like I said, there's no credibility. This is just me spitballing. But Jameis, the Steeler, might. It makes some sense to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of my favorite former Jag quarterbacks played there for a little bit with Byron Leftwich. He did too shabby filling in. I kind of see Jameis as a much bigger armed Leftwich, which is not as good.
All right, so let's move on to other quarterbacks. The Colts have signed Philip Rivers. So, any thoughts? No?
I hate Rivers as a Jags fan. I've always hated him. He always gives my team the toughest time, and now that he's in the division, I just like, oh, great, perfect. Now I can hate him even more. I mean, the Colts have always been one of the two teams that are always doing well in the division. I mean, recently it's been the Texans, Titans, and I just figure he's going to come in there and do what he always does and just give my team the toughest time.
Yeah, but recently the Colts have been out of luck. So,
Yeah, no, they've literally been out of luck.
yeah. So let's get to your Jags. They traded Nick Foles to the Bears. So, the question is, what now? I mean, Gardner proved that he can function with an NFL team, but do they look at Justin Herbert? Do they trade up for Tua maybe?
I don't, I'm not sold on Tua. Nothing against him. It's just, I don't know why. I don't feel like that hit. I feel like he's going to be a kind of shadow of himself because of that hip injury. That was a pretty significant injury. I actually would like to see the Jags sit with Minshew for a year, see what he does, and trade some of those picks for future ammo to trade up and get what's this kid out of South Carolina or Clemson?
Clemson. Trevor Austin.
Trevor.
Trevor.
Trevor what?
I said Trevor Austin, but I don't think that's it. Because it's
Trevor something or other. That kid.
Trevor.
Anybody who Trevor, yeah, the Trevor. Everybody knows what we're talking about. People listen there like shouting his last name at us. You idiot! That's Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. Yeah.
Thank you, Phantom Screamer. You just jogged my memory.
Yeah. The problem with Trevor.
I think that.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think with Trevor Lawrence, it might be one of those situations like Tua last year, where he does his thing, really doesn't improve, but he's still good. But somebody just out of nowhere, like Joe Burrow this year, completely blows him out of the water. You know.
I don't know though. He's been performing at a consistently high level now for 2 years now. The kid's undeniable talent. I mean, who would you see doing that?
Well, that's the fun part of somebody coming out of nowhere. You have no idea. Like someone for Ohio State or LSU or Oklahoma, they've had really good one-year wonder quarterbacks that just come out and light everything on fire. So it's one of those things, who has the better system to set somebody up to just blow away college football?
I mean, I wouldn't be angry. I kind of see Tua going to Miami for some reason. I think what I wouldn't mind seeing with the draft, I wouldn't be angry if they used like a second round pick on Jim Hurts.
Yeah. Well.
And then let him come in and compete for a job. And I mean, I feel very good about Minshew. I really do. Stick with him. I think he did some big things. He made some unbelievable plays. Coming off the bench for Bowles,
Yeah. Hey, would you do me a favor and just talk closer to the mic? It's getting tough, and that's the sort of quality I care about on this show. We need to not miss a word that you say.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no problem.
Yeah, so
Let me adjust myself here,
yeah.
and I don't mean I'm grabbing my nuts.
Once again, we have Chris Rodriguez. I am. This is Hunkered Down with Seth. Keeping your sanity by talking football. This is our football spectacular.
All right, is that better?
Oh, way better. So let's
All
start.
right, cool.
Let's go. So I saw you post the Jags have the 9th pick and the 20th pick. So
To start with, I mean they've got like 11 picks stockpiled right now.
yeah, what are the Jags' weaknesses right now, and what are some players that you're looking at? Because I know you're a huge
Oh my
draft
gosh.
junkie as I am.
I mean, they've got a lot of holes. I mean, they're jettisoning players left and right. They just traded away Calais Campbell for a song to Baltimore, and they're just, just clearing cap space and making room. So I would like to see them. I think this year the priorities are going to be more on the defensive side of the ball. I'd like to see them pick up somebody like Simmons out of Clemson, the all-star, everything defensive. Well, I think they play him at linebacker, but he could play
Yeah.
anything. A quarterback would be good. They definitely need some more defensive line talent, and a tight end would be good, and maybe another offensive lineman. Probably in order, I would go linebacker, cornerback, defensive lineman, tight end. No, offensive lineman, tight end. Is I think where I would like to see them use all that draft capital.
Yeah, how about Judy from Alabama, the receiver?
I like him. I don't think he's going to be around though. And by the time we should make wide receiver a priority, I think the first pick should be a linebacker. I mean, they've lost Telvin Smith and Miles Jack is kind of the only one that's really left there that can really produce. They had the kid Quinnen Williams. He showed a lot of speed, but he was very inconsistent. So I don't know that he's going to be. I don't think that he's an every down linebacker. He's great in pass situations, but I definitely think that linebacker is a much bigger need before wide receiver because DJ Chark is he's a great talent, and he was a steal for a second round pick.
Yep.
So I think there are other. The wide receiver class is really really deep this year. So I don't think they need to give that attention that early, and I don't think Judy will be around with time to Jack or thinking about filling some wide receiver spots.
Yeah. Plus, I just think if you got somebody as talented as Judy, you could fill in your roster with the 3rd round, 4th round, and they got what 4th or 4th round picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they've just got a stockpile of picks. So I mean, well, who knows? I mean, they could also trade a lot of that draft capital and get Judy and Simmons in the 1st round. I see that being a possibility.
definitely, I just think if there's someone who's as big of a talent as Judy, I think he's really getting overlooked because there's so many teams have so many needs above the Jaguars. We should just, take the talent like they did
Absolutely.
with Josh Allen last year. They had needs, but Allen was there. Is that his name? The first.
Yeah, Josh Allen. Yep.
And
The defensive end, pass rusher. Yeah, that guy's he was great. And by the way, are you? I know I'm probably the only person on the planet who gives a crap about the Jags, but I feel like we got robbed of the offensive and defensive rookies of the year. I mean, they gave it to Kyler Murray, and Minshew's stats were just objectively better, and he was he won more. Had a higher QB rating, more touchdowns, less interceptions. I think he might have had a couple, but really comparable stats and better in many categories than Kyler Murray. So I was just really disappointed in that. And Josh Allen as well. Josh Allen had better stats than Bosa. So I think my team was robbed. I mean, they were just absolutely robbed last year. It was a damn shame.
yeah, if they played in New York instead of Jacksonville, forget about it. But
Oh yeah, no, completely, man. But what was the question before?
no, it's just well, doesn't matter. This is the Tangent Radio Network. This is what I do. So
Nice.
Josh Allen, I mean, what do you
Oh
have?
yeah, you were saying that it's the best talent available. So,
Yeah,
I wouldn't trust. I mean, I wouldn't be pounding the drums and taking the pitchforks to the streets. Well, that's illegal, by the way. Anyways, we're quarantined. But I wouldn't be
yeah,
pitchforking the streets if they grab Judy with their first available pick if he's still on the board. I mean, the kid's a great talent.
yeah. It's one of those things. I don't think there are 9 players in the draft better than Judy. So I think he's a top 5 talent. He's up there with what's his name and the other guys. So you know, I think as
Who are your top five?
Burrow, Judy, the offensive tackle from Georgia, the and I gotta look all this stuff up. The corner
You
from
don't like
Ohio
that kid
State
from uh huh.
and Chase Young. I mean, they're saying
You think
Chase
Chase Young's
Young.
fifth?
Well, not in order. Those are just the top 5 off the top of
Oh,
my.
okay.
In terms of prospects, I got Chase Young 1, Joe Burrow 2, the corner from Ohio State 3. Then I would go Judy 4, and the tackle from Georgia 5.
What about that kid who had the unbelievable stats at offensive line? Was it Medford? Is that his name?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I choose the guy from Georgia over him because he's Jewish.
The guy from Georgia's Jewish.
Sure, why not? He converted.
Uh, you're a homer.
I am. That's why I say the best football player of all time is Sandy Koufax.
L'chaim, hut hut.
Exactly.
Um, Now, one guy who I think is going to be a great sleeper in the draft, and he'll probably be a third to fourth round pick, but tight end from my alma mater, Harrison Bryant. I really think he's gonna really take the league by storm next year, especially if he lands in the right situation. I would. He's one I would love to see come to Jacksonville, and I know that he'd be available right around the time that Jacksonville's coming into all their picks if they don't trade him away.
Oh yeah, he's he is as solid as they come. Oh, by the way, speaking of linebackers, going back to that, they did sign a Wisconsin Badger, Joe Schobert. Had a solid year in Cleveland,
Joe
so
Schobert, yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
yeah. He had like 113 tackles, 110 tackles, something like that. I mean, he did really well. I mean,
yeah,
he was really kind of underrated and not very. He flew under the radar, but he's got he's good production. I do think he'll add to the linebacker core. Do you know? I mean, what's his natural position?
uh, I think an outside linebacker, like one of those guys where in a 4-3 he would be an outside linebacker, but in a 3-4 he'd be an inside linebacker. So,
Right. Yep. Got it.
and he's really good at coverage too.
Nice. Yeah. No. I know that the general consensus with the fan base on my team was who, but then what's his face? Brian Baldinger did a video on him and really kind of made me feel a lot better. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to play. But it makes you wonder. I mean, why do people with pure talent and numbers and stats to show it just get overlooked? It's just crazy just because of where you happen to play.
Yeah, it's also it's more of a level of competition thing because some people could overcome that. Like my best example of level of competition is Steve McNair, how he succeeded it in the NFL even though he was Division 2, and he was probably the best stats guy in Division 2 history.
Alcorn State.
Yep, but then again, you
Well,
look.
there's a lot of guys like that. I mean, Jimmy G, Romo. There's a lot of guys that came from there. I
Yeah,
mean, greatest
Flacco.
receiver of all time.
Uh,
What's the boy? Jerry Rice out of Mississippi Valley State.
yeah, but then you also got there. It's one of those things. It's all a crapshoot because you got the guys who didn't do much in college who explode in the NFL, like Jordy Nelson, my guy from Kansas State. He had one good year.
Kansas State. Right. Yeah, yeah. He came out. Do you think he'll make the Hall of Fame?
No, nah. He didn't even. It's one of those things. He was never the top guy in any given year. Like with Terrell Owens or Randy Moss, they were always 1-2 with Marvin Harrison. They were always the
Right.
top guys, but there was never a moment where you pointed at Jordy Nelson and said he's the number one receiver in the NFL. There was a single year. But
Yeah, that's a good point.
but let me ask you
That's a good
this:
point. So what about? Go ahead.
speaking of Hall of Famers, do you think Antonio Brown has played his last down in the NFL? And if so, is he a Hall of Famer?
I don't think Antonio Brown's played his last down in the NFL. I think Tom Brady's going to find a way to bring him down to Tampa. I really do. They stayed in contact over the offseason. He's learned to shut up now. I mean, that's literally all he had to do to get a chance was just shut up, and he couldn't do that. So
Yeah.
now he's learned to shut his mouth. I mean, he's focusing more on putting out crappy music. Have you heard his? Did you hear his single?
No, not yet. Is
Oh,
it
dude, it is.
is it as bad as Kobe
It's called
Bryant's
"Running."
single?
I never heard Kobe Bryant's single, but without having heard it, I guarantee you that Shaq and Kobe's songs sound like like Tupac and Biggie compared to what AB put out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's on YouTube. It's called "Running." You can listen to it, and you'll. I like this. I like to think that's what CTE sounds like. That's the soundtrack to CTE. It is. It's a nightmare.
Uh, I mean, Shaq, he had that song "Can We Rock." What's up, Doc? Can we rock?
What's up, Doc? Can we rock? Shaq Fu. By the way, Shaq, man, for a minute there, he had himself an entertainment empire. I mean, he had video game, movies, music. He was killing the game.
Yeah. Same with Tim Allen, but he had to focus back on. I want to take a look. That was mid '90s. He's won 4 championships since the Kazam. So there might be something to say about that.
You're talking about Shaq?
Yeah. I mean, before Kazam, he didn't win
Well, who
any.
knows, man? Maybe AB will come back after putting out this crappy music and win another ring in Tampa with Tom. But
I
yeah, I think he'll find a way back onto the field for one last try, and then is he a Hall of Fame wide receiver? I mean, I think so. I mean, who's played within the last 10 years that you would put above Antonio Brown?
I can't think of any. There's some arguments for Julio Jones, but I think
Yeah, sure.
if AB's one, then Julio's 1A, or if Julio's one, AB's right there with him. So
Absolutely. And Megatron hasn't been gone for 10 years either. Um, I put him up there. So yeah, AB is right. He's in that conversation. I mean, the guy would just produce. He's just one of the greatest route runners, greatest feet. I think he had the greatest feet out of all the current class of receivers.
yeah,
Um, so I'd put him as first with best footwork for sure.
yeah. Plus, he had that scary mindset, like the Steve Smith scary mindset. One of those where if it comes down to it and one of them is gonna die, it won't be AB. I mean, he was fight you to the death type of competitor.
Oh yeah, tenacious, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I think he's too good of a talent. I mean, he's be it quality of character. That's one thing. I don't think he's a very good person. I don't think he's surrounding himself with the right support of people to put him in the right direction. But talent on the field, I think he's too good not to give a chance.
Yeah.
Throw a decent salary at him and see what he can do, especially paired with Tom Brady. I mean, that seems to be where he wants to go. And I don't think anybody else would be willing to even entertain a conversation for him unless they had the greatest quarterback of all time advocating for him.
Well, the Packers have the greatest quarterback of all time, so I would love AB there, and they have a need at receiver.
Man, but he's so unlikable. Why do I hate Aaron Rodgers? I don't have a good reason for that, but I just don't like him.
I could tell you some Aaron Rodgers stories that would make you hate him. There was this one, the famous Greg Jennings story, where they were playing the 49ers in the playoffs, I think. So, and Greg Jennings' contract was up at the end of the season, so Greg made a solid catch along the sidelines, and one of the corners said something like, "Hey, you're pretty good," and then Rodgers said, "Hey, you guys should sign him next year then." And Jennings was like, "What the hell?" You know,
This guy's just a jerk. And he dated the hottest woman to ever walk this planet besides my wife. No, I can't recall her name.
oh, Olivia
Oh
Mum?
man, no. Oh yes. And the heavens parted and God sent down Olivia Munn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's so cool. So that just, I mean, how could she be with such a jerk? That guy is just not a good person. And he's even annoying in his State Farm commercials.
Yeah. He reminds me of one of those stand up comics who's afraid to make himself look bad at all. Like,
Right.
one of those guys who say, yeah, all of them are the assholes, not me.
Oh, or the ones that are like, God, what a crappy crowd that was, and starts crapping on the audience.
Exactly. It's, you know, it, no one thinks Aaron Rodgers is a good teammate. All he could do is just make the best throws of all time. He is the most accurate deep thrower ever, and he's a coach killer. He's does nothing for his teammates. It's one of those things where would I want him on my team? Yes. Would I want him for a career? Unfortunately, I have him for a career. So
How many years he's got left? Does he have left?
it's one of those it's one of those situations where it's however many he wants. N- Nobody is gonna get rid of Aaron Rodgers, so he's just gonna stay where he is until there's any sign of regression.
So, if you could pick right now, like if you could wave a magic wand and know for a fact that you're going to get the quarterback prospect of your choice in the next 2 years, would you get rid of Aaron Rodgers for the quarterback of your choice, and who would it be? I take it back. I'll even expand the question. Any active quarterback, period,
Oh,
in the league
Mahomes.
or coming up in the next 2 years.
Mahomes,
You
without
would
a
get rid of
doubt.
Rodgers for Mahomes?
Oh, in a heartbeat. In a second. I would give Rodgers, I would give both Smith brothers, the outside edge rushers, and I would get Devontae Adams away for Mahomes. I would get rid of the entire team. I would get I would get rid of Lambeau Field. I would get rid of the entire city of Green Bay just to have Patrick Mahomes.
And 5 tons of cheese curds
Hey,
for Patrick
I
Mahomes.
never said that. I would keep the cheese curds.
Let's not get carried away. Yeah,
Exactly.
Mahomes is pretty. All right, so let's stay. All right, that was too easy of a question. Let's put Mahomes aside. Besides Mahomes, if you could have your choice of any quarterback in the league or coming up in the next 2 years, and you could instantly replace him, guaranteed, would you do so?
I would rank Mahomes 1, Rodgers 2, Lamar 3, because he's the reigning MVP, and then Russell Wilson 4. So I think if you have those quarterbacks on your team and you got an average supporting cast, those guys could take you deep into the playoffs, regardless of who you are.
But don't you guys have an average supporting cast right now?
Well, depends what you call 13
Did
and
Green Bay
3
even? They didn't
average.
even make the playoffs this year, didn't they?
Who?
Did Green Bay make the playoffs this year?
You mean did they win the Super Bowl? No, but did they win the NFC Championship? No, but they lost the NFC Championship.
Did they? Okay, I can't
13 and
recall.
3. They
See, that's
kicked.
how.
They were awesome.
All right, well, I don't. I don't know why. I just have a complete blind spot for what the Green Bay Packers did this year. I mean, they're not big time like my Jags, so I'm sorry I don't pay attention all the time to what you guys do up in the Great White North.
That's all right. It's one of those things that for not breaking NFL records like Aaron was doing 5 years ago, no one really pays attention.
Yeah, I feel you on that, man. I feel you on that. Two great rookie talents on my squad that
Yeah.
nobody probably doesn't even know their names. Other than, I mean, the only reason I knew Minshew is because he looks like Uncle Rico, from
Yeah.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Wait, he's not?
But still, I don't know, man. I don't know why I feel this way about it. I just feel like it's. I don't. I don't get excited about Rodgers. Is he a good quarterback? Yeah, absolutely. I kind of feel like he's the one that held you guys back, honestly. I mean, I feel like if you guys had somebody who was more of a team player, the team would have played more cohesively and kind of gotten over that hump, you know?
Well, it would have been nice, but we went 13-3 and lost the NFC Championship. It I'll I like to look at it this way. There's really very few people out there that we would consider an upgrade. So with what we got, we last year we really maximized our potential.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, who do you see filling Philip Rivers' spot down in San Diego?
Oh, nobody, but in LA, I see them.
All right, LA.
Yeah,
I don't give a damn. You know what? The Rams are still St. Louis, and the Chargers are always San Diego. Those two cities was robbed.
yeah, especially Vegas. I mean, the Raiders have
And,
no business in
yeah,
Vegas.
dude, come on, man. That's a damn shame. That is a crime. What they did to the people of Oakland. That is a shame. They have always loved that team.
Yeah, when I moved to LA, I used to say this joke where I've met 5 Rams fans, 6 Chargers fans, and 5 million Raiders fans
In LA.
in LA. It's you always be nice to David Carr, otherwise you'll be stabbed.
Right. David Carr gets a pass no matter where he goes.
Yeah. To answer your question, I believe the Chargers they'll draft what's his name from Oregon. Uh, damn, I should know his name because
Morgan.
he beat the Badgers in the
So, Morgan State?
no Oregon.
Oh, Oregon. Hugh
The
Herbert.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, and I think they'll
Oh,
have
that's right.
because they have Tyrod Taylor there right now, so they might start Tyrod at the beginning of the season and have a Herbert, be the backup successor,
Mm-hmm.
or or who cares? Because they're the Chargers. Am I right?
How many Chargers? Yeah, you probably met any Chargers fans if you're in LA. I've met one Charger fan my entire life, so I mean I'm sure they're out there, but
There's a couple, but they they couldn't even sell out season tickets for a
soccer
30,000 seat
stadium,
soccer stadium in Carson. Like I remember
right?
driving around there, and I see most. It was 80% away fans in that stadium, every game.
Golly, that's a shame. Well, that's good though. I hope the people of LA can continue to boycott the Los Angeles Chargers so they go back to their rightful place, San Diego.
Yeah, it's entirely the owner's fault too. If they had better ownership, that would. They were great in San Diego. They had a base. They had players. They had very likable players. Like Philip Rivers, you can like him or hate him, but you have to respect him as a competitor. LaDainian Tomlinson is an all-time great. Wait, you don't
Oh yeah,
respect Rivers as a competitor?
as a competitor,
Yeah.
ah,
What did?
define respect. I
Well,
mean, the guy's gonna get it done, but I don't like him, and I just as soon slap him in the face as shake his hand.
yeah. However, he did tear his ACL and then play in an AFC championship, and that's what put it over for me.
I mean, I don't care. I hope he tears the other ACL. I don't care. I hate that guy. I just can't stand that guy. I can't stand him. He's the whiniest freaking. And the way he talks trash is just it's so annoying. Like, oh God, I can't stand that guy.
Yeah,
I really can't stand that guy.
I know. Are you jealous of how many kids he has?
No, I am not. And that's speaking as a Mexican. I am not jealous. You got like 12. Is he Mormon? But you got like 12 kids, 13 kids.
I know. I just want to sit him down.
Is he married to a married to a Mexican woman? Like, what is this?
I just want to sit him down and say, look, you don't have to have all the kids. You just have some of them.
I mean, you're rich enough. Can't you do like Brangelina and start collecting them for collecting foreign assorted colors of foreign kids?
Yeah, and eventually his wife just has to throw in the towel and just be like, all right, that's enough. We have a
God,
baker's
poor
dozen.
wife.
We're good.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, his poor wife, man. Like, she's. I mean,
Just,
I don't want to be crass, but just there's a lot of wear and tear on that poor lady's body.
yeah, it's just to have her sit out a year. Just 1 year. Just be like, hey, Philip, I'm going to travel. You enjoy yourself up in Indy.
Look, put that woman's uterus on sabbatical.
Put it in the Hall of Fame. I mean,
Yeah, bronze it. That's right.
exactly.
You know what? Do a mercy killing. Euthanize her uterus.
Just,
Bronze it.
just retire it to the rafters. Just put it up there
Yeah.
next to Junior
Hang up the
Seau's
number.
number, next to LT's number,
Yep.
Philip Rivers' wife's
Yep.
uterus.
Just put them up there. Phil Rivers' wife's uterus. Yep. Oh, you could call it. I think we should call it Old Bessie. Put Old Bessie up in the rafters. That's the name of the uterus.
Old Yeller. Just take it out back.
The Old Yeller. Take it out back. Shoot it. Put it to rest, please. Dear Lord.
Oh my god. Alright, well, I'm gonna start wrapping it up right now, buddy. Thanks for doing this, by the way. I needed just somebody to spout off about NFL free agency. You got any last words? Anything you want to promote?
No, I don't have anything to promote right now. We're we're out here in Charlotte, North Carolina, just quarantining ourselves.
Yeah.
It's spreading a lot slower out here because nobody lives out this way. This is a no place. Nobody third rates it. Sorry, I mean, I don't like it here. I miss Seattle and the West Coast. But
Hey, best
no,
pulled
I don't
pork on the
have anything.
planet.
Huh?
Best pulled pork on the planet.
That's what they say. That's what they say. I'm not impressed. I'm just not. But
No,
no. Last thoughts are. I mean, I think it's been one hell of a free agent off season, a free agency. I mean, there's so many moves being made. I mean, I just I'm actually looking forward to see what happens next. And with us with all this COVID shutdowns left and right, it's really really welcome. So I mean, I'll
oh
just be
yeah.
watching NFL free agency news and draft news like a hawk.
Oh, definitely. Alright, well, that's our show, and you guys stay safe out there. Take care.
All right, brother. Take care. Thank you.